Hey there, today I'm going to take a look at how to choose what objectives or crisis cards should be making it into your roster. My name is Nate, and welcome to the Gamers Guild. If you've been reading articles or listening to podcasts about Marvel Crisis Protocol, you've already heard probably multiple different ways to go about building your roster. The two extremes are picking which characters you want in your roster first, or you can go about it by choosing which crisis cards or objectives you want to build and play around. Now, obviously there are plenty of in-betweens here as well, where you may maybe pick a few characters you think are really strong, or maybe that you just really like, and then look at what missions they would be good at before deciding how to round out the rest of the characters in your roster. Or maybe you choose an objective that isn't very generic and you can build an elite team around it that your opponents won't be ready for. Then you look at what else those characters might be good at and choose some objectives based off of that. I'm going to walk through a few of these different styles of roster building and hopefully help you identify what characters and gems might pair well with the different crisis cards. So for starters, let's take a look at my A&W root beer list. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that is totally fine. There's not a lot of reason that you should, but I'll leave a link at the end of this video so you can learn a little bit more about it if you want to. This is a roster where I built purely based on the characters I know I enjoy. So it has Captain America, Captain Marvel, Vision, Hawkeye, Thor, and Valkyrie, along with all of the Wakandans with Black Panther, Shuri, Killmonger, and Okoye. How I chose all of these characters is a completely different subject, but from here I begin to look at things I know my list can do really well. For instance, the Origin Bomb mission looks pretty good for me since I can take Thor, Captain Marvel, and Captain America, all of whom are the best at claiming the different objectives since they have a high energy defense. The rest of the team can be filled out depending on the threat level. At 15 I can throw in Okoye, at 16 Valkyrie, at 17 Panther or Killmonger, and so on. So we take Origin Bombs. What else can this team do well? Since it has a lot of defensive characters and a long-range character with Hawkeye, Extremist Consoles is nice because Hawkeye can sit on the back objective and still be able to pop off a shot with his ability to move, attack, and then hook arrow back onto an objective. Then my more defensive characters like Captain America, Vision, and Thor can go to the middle points to contest, and with the added benefit of being able to heal on these already bulky characters, just makes them that much more durable. In the realm of secures, I then either have Gamma Shelters or Infinity Formula, and I went with the Formula because Hawkeye is good on it, and my team can be split up pretty effectively, and also because this team doesn't really thrive on Gamma Shelters like some other lists can. Looking at the extractions, Wakandan Herbs is an easy one for me to take because between Black Panther and any of my multiple flyers makes for a very easy turn 2 herb capture with only using one team tactic card. If my opponent doesn't have a quick answer, I can usually close out the game pretty quickly from there. My other favorite extraction with this list is Hammers because my team members can make more use out of the Hammer's benefit of the extra attack dice than the average model. Thor becomes more consistent with his wilds for a throw, Captain Marvel has a built-in reroll on her energy blast, and Vision's beam attack means that extra dice goes further for each enemy that gets hit. I also then chose Citizen Evacuation for my final objective because characters like Vision and Shuri can rapidly build up a bank of power without too much concern about spending it to be able to rescue the civilians. I didn't like the other extraction objectives too much because my team doesn't thrive on them as well. Things like Spider Infected and Cosmic Cubes can cause some chaos that I don't personally love. Coming from the other end of the roster building spectrum, something you will usually want is objectives that play similar to one another, like Skrull Infiltrator and Kree Power Core, because you can then build a game plan that allows for you to be really keyed into those objectives. Characters like Corvus with the Reality Stone become very strong, along with Guardians who can go wide to easily have more chances at grabbing the objective. As well, you can bring the Team Tactic card Mission Objective to keep your hands on the single extraction objective and out of your opponent's control. Then on the secure side of things, you can pair up with Extremist Consoles and the new 16 threat crisis, the Cosmic Invasion, because it uses the same objective layout, which is to say, spread out. Again, the Guardians can go wide, which is important for these more spread out objectives. Being able to leave Rocket on the point closest to you while you use characters like Gamora and Nebula to go and clear off the other secure points on the battlefield lines up pretty well for the Guardians. So at this point, we have 2 of each kind of crisis and a pretty good idea of how to fill out the characters in the roster. The nice thing here is you don't need to think about your other extraction and secure objective because you will never have to pick that one. Sure, you have to discard one of your possible objectives, but then you will still have one of the pair that your roster was made for. This final example is going to be somewhere in between the other 2, so let's look at the newly released Thanos and his Black Order, for example. He has a few different superpowers that can help his allies in different ways, and since he on his own is 6th threat, you won't really be able to go wide with him, which means you want to keep your allies close. So Gamma Waves and Deadly Meteors are both very appealing because they are able to keep your team closer together. At this point, we can begin fleshing out the other characters and gems in the roster. If you're looking for a good brawl, characters like Proxima, Corvus, and Black Dwarf are all affiliated with Thanos and the Black Order and thrive on being in close quarter combat. Then suddenly Thanos with Corvus and Proxima have a pretty easy way to score Wakandan herbs on turn 1. So that can easily become one of your extraction objectives. From there you can continue to look at what objectives your team will want to play with and what characters will be good in filling in the gaps. If you're wanting to slow down the game and try to get more KO points from Thanos' leadership ability, maybe throw in either Kree Power Core and Skrull Infiltrator, or maybe even both. You already have Corvus and the Reality Gem as well, so from here things just kind of fall into place. I hope this helps with the next roster you begin to assemble, especially since it is looking like we will have 2 new affiliations coming up in August with Spider Foes and the Web Warriors. And maybe if you have always started by just throwing in some of your favorite characters, try the other way and build from the crisis cards first and see where it leads you. That is all I have for this week. If you have any questions or maybe are looking for ideas for your next roster, I have links to my email and Facebook down below. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep on gaming.